Silvia, thanks for joining us and taking some time to share a little bit about investing in health equity. So just please introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background and kind of some of the work that you're currently doing with New York Ventures.
Sure. So, well, thanks for the invite to be here. It's a pleasure. So I do come from a background in life sciences. I started in the pharma world and medical devices. I am originally from Europe. I moved to the States to start the affiliate of a medical device company, a startup here in the States, and well, I never left. So that brought me into also more and more of the entrepreneurial world, smaller companies, digital health as well in the meantime. I founded my own company as well, and then decided to move into venture. And a little bit into that, then it came the opportunity to join New York Ventures. So New York Ventures is the venture capital arm of the New York State. So we are state-funded, but we are a venture arm. So we basically run 2 direct funds. I manage our bigger fund that has been around for 6-7 years. We invest in seed to Series B, companies that are based in New York. We also have a pre-seed fund that started earlier this year, and that is funded with SSBCI money. That is a federal program that New York got both into loans, that is another department at the agency, and we are under Empire State Development. But we do all the equity programs. So we have that pre-seed fund, the main fund, the venture capital fund, and then a fund to funds for emerging managers.
And talk to me about some of the key characteristics that you're looking for in some potential companies that you might be investing in. What are some of the qualities that you try to illuminate or get really excited about at New York Ventures?
Yeah, so but we also co-invest with other investors, so we don't lead deals. And that also means we align very well with what is the normal general setup for venture investment. So we look for companies that do something different, that they are addressing a big need, so they are a big solution, and that we also go early. When you do seed and Series A is early in the game. So who is your team and the founders matters a lot. So a good solution, a good market, and a good team that's going to execute is at the core of what we're doing. We are an impact-based or impact-focused company, and therefore we also care a lot about what we do being of importance in that respect, and we can maybe go more into that.
Yes, yeah, that kind of leads into the topic. So you're looking at health equity and from an investor perspective. So we know that there are institutions and governments and providers certainly all involved in improving health equity, but how can you do that from an investment standpoint?
Yeah, so this is one of the areas we have several verticals, but this is one of the areas we care about. Life science healthcare is one of our main verticals, but also social impact is one of them. And health equity is in the middle of this. So the way we think about it is sometimes you hear about health equity is the government needs to do something, philanthropy needs to do something, the hospitals need to be more attuned, more cultural savvy and all that. But there is also a piece that can be solved by venture, private venture and investment and innovation in that space. And the fact that those companies are servicing underserved or underserviced areas doesn't mean that it's not a good business. On the contrary, you have a huge population, a huge need, and addressing it in the right way, it can be both a good business and doing very well for society. And so we actually look for those kinds of opportunities as well. And it is a good business, even if you also, especially because you are also doing good.
And so what are some of the areas of innovation within those kind of realms and that unique kind of opportunity space that you're operating in? What are you looking at for that will provide support and benefits for health equity?
Yeah, so I think there are two main topics. I would be open to find other businesses and other ideas that do not fit those two, but generally we see it in two areas. One would be efficiency. So for example, when we think about, we were talking about value-based care, we were talking about other systems that are implemented maybe at bigger hospitals with a lot of resources. And so one of our portfolio companies works with federally qualified healthcare centers, which basically provides the infrastructure that they need to be able to adopt these new models of value-based care, of even just the simple back-end process of the product. This is a company that's doing very well. We invested twice. And it's basically taking out all this burden that is in those facilities, and those are places that are very well equipped, they are good at what they do, but they might not have the same type of infrastructure that a big hospital has and can devote those resources. So now you have something that you can streamline, you can make it available to many more hospitals. So suddenly you have a model and a business that can work, that will provide for many more people. So that's an example of how efficiencies can be made into a business that works for everybody and is not adding a burden, is actually subtracting cost, and therefore there is a space to divide that. The other area or the other topic would be access. Access and connectivity, because a lot of what is available, many people don't know that is available or accessing it, and I think we heard it before during today, right? Engagement, and so how do we get to that? And solutions that help for that is another one. Again, we also have an example in our portfolio that is the company Unite Us, which is already a unicorn. And I'm saying a unicorn in this space, right? So those opportunities also exist. And what they do is to create the connections between the different organizations and ecosystems in a more community setting, more local setting, so then it is available to people.
Yeah, it certainly seems like a lot of the different conversations that have been going on today are some of the strengths and things that you're looking for in companies that you would be investing in, improving access and providing improved efficiencies and all the things that digital health can bring to kind of a different population. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face in this type of investing?
I think that a big challenge is to figure out what is going to be a business and what's not, right? I mean, we co-invest with other investors that are looking for financial returns. Any investor that is an investor professionally needs the returns, otherwise they will not exist in a few years, right? If you don't return to your LPs, you're done. So that is something you need to pay attention to. I also think it's not a problem in the sense that this is aligned with if you want a company that's going to be sustainable and succeed, they also need to be able to return. So I don't see it as much as either or, but as something that goes together. And I think sometimes this is a challenge because you might see something that you say, well, this is clearly needed. We see the value from an impact perspective. But you also need to be able to see how are we going to get there? What is the go-to-market? What is the business model? Because if the numbers don't add up, you will not be able to make it, right? So having this dual evaluation of, yes, we agree, right? So sometimes people spend a lot of time explaining that there is a problem. It's like, well, this part was kind of easy, right? We know it is a problem, so let's talk about how we're gonna solve it and how are we gonna ensure that is a viable way to solve it.
Excellent. And then lastly, what one piece of advice would you give to early stage companies that are looking to get investments from potentially your firm? What's the one biggest piece of advice you can give them?
I'm not sure it's one, but
Sure.
I will wrap it into having this story clear, right? And the story is not just what is the need, but is what are you going to solve and how you're going to solve it, and kind of show a way in which you are planning to get there. That is key, especially when we also look at, for example, companies that do biotech or new treatments, and you still need the story there, but you have some IP, you have something that is different. When you are doing more of an access type of solution or approaching a problem in a different way, it becomes much more relevant how you're going to make it happen. Do you have some partnerships? Have you talked to some people? Have a waiting list? Have something that's telling that this is moving in the right direction, or at least you have an idea if you execute well, it's going to happen. And it can change. That's not the problem per se. But if you don't see that the line of sight on how you're going to get it, it's very hard to get behind it, because then it's all aspirational.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. I think we're headed to a networking break, so hopefully you'll get a few pitches while we're out engaging with everyone in the crowd.
By all means, any New York company, and if not, I'm also happy to hear it, but if you are in New York, this is especially interesting.
All righty, thank you very much.